morning everyone, my name is Disha De and I am a student of Surendranath Law College second year. So today I am going to discuss about contract law. The law relating to contract is in the Indian Contracts Act 1872. The act was enacted on 25th April 1872 and commenced from 1st September 1872. Now, the Act deals with several provisions and several sections. So, from section 1 to 75, which deals with general provisions of law relating to contract. From section 124 to 147 deals with indemnity and guarantee. From section 148 to 181 deals with bailment and pledge. And from section 182 to 238 deals with agency. Now, the question comes in our mind that what is a contract? A contract is an agreement made between two or more parties which the law will enforce. Now, Section 2H of the Indian Contract Act 1872 defines contract as an agreement which is enforceable by law. So, this definition is based on Pollock's definition, and according to him, a contract is an every agreement and promise enforceable at law is a contract. Now, the term which comes often is an agreement. So, what is an agreement? According to Section 2E of the Indian Contract Act 1872, an agreement is every promise and every set of promises forming consideration for each other. So, here comes the objects. Now, what is the object of the Indian Contract Act 1872, or rather say contract law? The law of contract is that branch of law which determines the circumstances in which promises made by the parties to a contract shall be legally binding on them. So now there comes the essential elements of a contract. That means what are the conditions that are required to make a contract. So according to section 10 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, all agreements are contract if they are made by the free consent of the parties with a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and not expressly declared void. So to become an agreement to become a contract, an agreement must have the following conditions. So number 1, offer and acceptance. Number 2, the intention to create legal relationship. Number 3, lawful consideration. Number 4, capacity of the parties, that is competency. Number 5, free and genuine consent. Number 6, lawful object. Number 7, agreement not declared void. Number 8, certainty and possibility of performance. And number 9, legal formalities. So number 1, offer and acceptance. There must be two parties to an agreement, one party making the offer and another party accepting it. So the terms of the offer must be definite and the acceptance of the offer must be absolute and unconditional. The acceptance of the offer must be according to the mode prescribed and must be communicated to the offerer. Number 2, intention to create legal relationship. So when two parties enter into an agreement, their intention must be to create a legal relationship. So if there is no intention to create legal relationship on the part of the parties, then there is no contract, because the agreement of social and domestic nature do not contemplate and does not make contract. For example, we can say a husband promises his wife to pay ₹100 for every month as a monthly allowance. Later the parties separated and the husband failed to do so. Now the wife sued for the allowance. Now we can say that the agreements of these type are outside the realm of the contract altogether. So number 3, lawful consideration. An agreement to be enforceable by law must be supported by consideration. Now what is consideration? Consideration means a benefit or advantage moving from one party to the another. We can say something in return. A promise to do something and getting nothing in return is not enforceable by law. Okay, so number 4, capacity of the parties, that is competency. To enter into an agreement, a contract must be capable of entering. So he is capable of entering into a contract. Number 1, if he is of age of majority. Number 2, if he is of sound mind. And number 3, if he is not disqualified from contracting to any law to which he is a subject. Now, flaw in capacity may arise from minority, lunacy, drunkenness, etc., or maybe from the status. So number 5, free and genuine consent. It is essential for the creation of every contract that it is made of free and genuine consent. Now, free and genuine consent means if the people agree on the material terms of the contract and they have the same subject matter with each other. There is absence of free consent when the agreement is induced by coercion, undue influence, fraud, and misrepresentation, etc. So, number 6, lawful object. The object of the agreement must be lawful. In other words, we can say that the object must not be illegal, immoral, or opposed to public policy. If the agreement suffers from any legal flaw, then it would not be enforceable by law. Then comes number 7, agreement not declared void. The agreement must not expressly declared void by any law in the country. Now, number 8, certainty and possibility of performance. So, if the agreement is uncertain and vague or indefinite, and it's not possible to ascertain its meaning, then it cannot be accepted or enforceable by law. Okay, so number 9, the last one is legal formalities. A contract can be made by the word spoken or written. As regards of the legal effect, there is no difference between a contract made of words spoken or written. But there is some exceptional cases where it is required that the document in which the contract is incorporated must be stamped or registered. Now, where there is a statutory requirement that the contract must be in written or stamped or registered, the formalities must be followed in accordance with that. Now there comes another thing, that all contracts are agreements, but all agreements must not necessarily be contract. Now an agreement is a social agreement or a legal agreement, but its rules defines the remedies that are available in a court of law against a person who fails to perform the contract and the conditions under which the remedies are available. For example, A invites B to a party and B accepts the invitation. It is a social agreement. A social agreement does not give rise to contractual obligations, and therefore it is not acceptable or enforceable by law. Now, for example, we can say that A invites B to come and stay at his house for 1 week, and B accepts the invitation. Now, when B comes to A's house, A cannot accommodate B because A's wife has just died. Now, B cannot ask for compensation from A because it is a social agreement. So, let's give another example. A father promises his son to give rupees 100 every day for a monthly allowance. Now, the father refuses to do so later on. The son cannot recover as it is a domestic agreement, and there is no intention on the part of the parties to create a legal relationship. Thus, we can say that contract equals to agreement plus enforceability at law.